All right, well, thanks so much for having us today, especially kicking things off at the Porsche Experience. What better way to spend a Thursday? My name's Jessi Hamilton. I lead the Southeast team here at GroundTruth in Atlanta. We are an advertising company that takes real world behavior, turns that into marketing that gives you real business results, whether you're looking to drive foot traffic, virtual visits online, generate awareness, excitement, sales. We can certainly attribute that back to your media campaigns and reach high intent, highly predictive audiences across any screen and any format. And I think that's so important and what we're kind of chatting through today. Smaller budgets, having a big share of voice, getting the most ROI out of your marketing efforts. So without further ado, Allie, Lindsay, do you guys mind just introducing yourselves and telling us a little bit about your role at Carter's?
Sure. I'll go first since I have the
Go.
microphone.
Yeah, go.
I'm Lindsay Ryder. I've been with Carter's for about 3.5 years. I started with the organization as a contractor and was hired to build the very first in-house PR group. 156 years, the company's never had an in-house PR team. So I was really fortunate to kick that off. And ever since, I still have public relations, but also have taken on social, and most recently am able to partner with Allie on some of our larger activations and head up brand engagement.
All right. I love having a microphone. This is going to be great. So I'm Ghosh. I am new to Atlanta. I just moved here about 3 months ago from Louisville, Kentucky. You all need to drive slower. That's number one. Just kidding. So I've only, thank you. I got clap over there. I have been at Carter since June of last year, relatively new. At Carter, my title is Director of Integrated Marketing Communications, where I manage 3 distinct teams. The first is the brand team, so leading brand strategy, partnering with Lindsay all the time. I think she gets sick of me. Our offices just got moved right beside each other, so she's going to be real tired of me. So leading the brand strategy for Carter's, Oshkosh Bagosh, and Little Planet, which is our organic line, which is relatively new, super cute. Check it out. I also lead the go-to-market team, so all the things that you see from Carter's usually comes out of some form of my team in terms of the ads, digital, all of that. And then I also lead the gift card program for our business, which is about a $30 million program a year. So that's a little bit about me. Yeah. Tiny pants. Let's talk about them.
Thanks so much. So I think brands are often tasked with thinking fewer, bigger, better. You have fewer dollars, you have to make a bigger impact, and you have to do it better than you ever have done before, especially in this economy. So I know, Lindsay, you and I were talking earlier about bringing it back to Super Bowl, the campaign you guys ran this year, and just how you were able to make a splash. We all saw 30-second ad spots this year were $6 to $7 million. So how are you able to break through that noise and make a splash kind of with the smaller budget, but still having a big share of voice?
Yeah, I think that we'll kind of tag team this because we did work together pretty closely on it. Carter's is not a brand with a big, massive broadcast media budget. So it's really important for us to leverage earned media in our social presence to really keep the brand top of mind. We're not switching out creative on TV every 8 weeks. So earned media is such an important part of the mix. We've always kind of toyed with this insight. No matter whose team wins, there's always seems to be a baby boom around the Super Bowl. So whether you're having like celebration sex or like, or
Didn't know you were going to get that today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
well, we all know how babies are born. Or your team lost and you're, on the other side of the spectrum. We know that there's always a baby boom 9 or 10 months later. So this year we're really leveraging into that insight. A couple things came together and they came together really quickly. One of which both teams were licensed partners of Carter's. So we had product for both teams, which was a blessing. Mm-hmm. And then we also just recently hired a new agency in town. So we have some really great partners to help us execute against this insight. And the thought was, what can we do to really kind of cut through the clutter, participate in the Super Bowl conversation on a really small budget? We came up with the concept of doing out-of-home placements with the the messaging being in the winning team's hometown, let's celebrate, see you in 9 months. And then in the losing team's hometown of, what was it?
Second place
Second
for
place
lovers.
is for lovers. Thank you. So we incorporated a URL on those out-of-home billboards where customers could then, or soon-to-be customers, could then sign up for a free bodysuit for their home team, whether they were winners or losers. So, really kind of cutting through the clutter, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, a little bit irreverent for us. It was definitely not necessarily a sweet and saccharine space. And I'll kind of let you talk a little bit about the results. Good? And how,
Sure.
and how you were on the phone
Oh,
ordering
yeah.
billboard spots.
So just to put it in context a little bit, we saw this idea on the about 9 days before the Super Bowl. Which one thing about the Carter's team, we are a small team, big business, $3.5 billion a year, but our marketing team is small and mighty and scrappy as can be. So we did see this idea 9 days before, and our mantra around the office is really find a way or make a way. We knew we had probably about $25,000 to spend it all total, and we had 9 days.
Faces like,
Wow.
wait, what?
Whoa. I know I came from KFC where we had like $150 million media budget, and I was like, I have $25,000 in 9 days. Cool, let's do it. So I think like the one important thing to take away from how we're able to do these kind of things is we have a lot of trust with our CMO. We have a lot of trust with our executive team. This was definitely out of the box for what Carter's usually does. We usually do videos of cute little babies rolling around. And so talking about, the parents rolling around a little bit was very different for us. So we had 9 days. We have a media agency, but, they were like, oh, you probably need $50,000 to do that. And we're like, yeah, we don't have that. So being scrappy as we are, I literally was like, you know what? I'm going to buy some Super Bowl media. And I just started calling up people. Luckily, we were able to get really prime spots with the partners at Outfront Media within a few days. We got them the creative like 2 days before the Super Bowl happened. And we were able to get that up. So we spent in total about $6,000 on billboard placement. We only ran one billboard. I will say the objective of it wasn't to have a big out-of-home presence. We didn't need that $50,000, right? The goal of this activation was to have a billboard in a key placement that we could take a sick picture of and circulate that to the media. So you don't have to blow everything out. You have to think about what's the sticky image, what's the sticky line that's going to get the press that you want. So we were able to secure those locations, get the creative done, execute a landing page for the sign up all in about 9 days. And that included weekend days, by the way, and spent very little, right? But in terms of impressions, we got placements on Ad Week in the Super Bowl conversation. So like you were seeing reports of the ads that were on the Super Bowl and then how Carter's got into that conversation. And I don't know if we told them the process behind it, like how that sausage was made, but it was very scrappy. And so I think just something to take away is find a way or make a way. You don't have to have the biggest budgets. You don't have to have the longest lead times. You can think creatively about how you can kind of hack the system and still get the same result you want. So in terms of impressions, it was like, here, you go ahead.
I think that we were at about 500 million earned impressions, but then also the reach on a viral TikTok that went live shortly after. We also have a really scrappy social team. So we took that image of the billboard, the sick image that we essentially paid $6,000 for, and we were able to put a remixed original version of Rihanna's song behind it, which God love our legal department. That's one other thing I would say that's really important to executing these really these small, scrappy, quick 9-day turns is we have an amazing CMO, but also a legal team that is down for the cause to work with us. Sometimes they may or may not know exactly the details. No, they know. But we have a really great legal department also to kind of pull these things off, which I think is super important.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some brands in here that are a little salty. They spent $7 million when you spent $6,000. But just on that note of those key moments, and I know that seasonality is something Carter's focuses a lot on. When you don't have as much budget to invest in for those evergreen year-long campaigns, what kind of channels are you kind of leveraging? How are you getting in front of your audiences, those parents, grandparents, in order to stay relevant during those key moments throughout the year?
I can talk a little bit of how we operate in the earned space and then how we operate digitally. But like I said before, earned media is so important. We do have a great agency partner. We've been with them for about 3 years, and we really challenge for monthly moments is what we call them. So every month we're challenging ourselves and our team to kind of cut the clutter with something interesting and different that will get coverage, draw eyeballs, increase our impression, and keep the brand top of mind. One example of that is another really kind of low lift. We did blowout insurance. So if there's parents here, you know what a blowout is. It's like up the front, up the back, around the sides. Like it's a horrible experience. And of course, your bodysuit gets ruined. You really just should throw those away. So last March, we launched blowout insurance, where parents would essentially go onto our landing page, fill out an incident report, and we're always trying to keep customer engaged and loyal and coming back for kind of like surprise and delight moments like this. So those kind of moments will then get coverage for us in the family and parenting space, in the marketing and ad trades, and it really kind of serves the purpose of keeping us top of mind with our customers.
Yeah, and from like an everyday promotional standpoint, we do a lot of promotions. We change our key message about every 5 to 7 days normally, which is a lot. One thing that allows us to do this and produce the amount of creative that we have is we do have an in-house creative team. We have an in-house creative director. And so we almost see our internal team as our agency of record, right? Our creative director, you can think of him as a creative director. You can think of me as the lead strategist on the account. Lindsay as another strategist on the account. And so having that in-house team does allow us to do a lot of creative for our promotional cadences that we have. So we're able to support that everyday hum of business. And that's kind of our bread and butter, but take these moments on top because we can't just talk about price, right? Because Carter's is a little on the expensive side if you like compare it to places like Children's Place or Cat and Jack. Our quality is superior, I will say that. But we can't just rely on price alone. I think a lot of marketers, it's a race to the bottom sometimes, and that's not a race we want to be in, just to cut price. And so I think partnering those promotional strategies that we have are only going to work if we can get ourselves into the cultural zeitgeist with Lindsay's team and do things like blowout insurance, get in the Super Bowl conversation, have a TikTok presence where we know these Gen Z and millennial parents are. I know I'm on TikTok like far too often. So I think it's a combination of the two. You have to have that steady cadence of promotions, insight-led promotions that are timely based on what parents are looking for, but also layer on top of that those cultural moments, because in such a competitive space as kids clothing, which is a commodity, you have to elevate yourself. And Carter's really tries to position itself as the kids clothing authority, which is what Lindsay's big task is. I just got to sell tiny pants. Lindsay actually has done her job.
Amazing. So I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions, but regardless of what budgets are, I know you've mentioned TikTok, social, out-of-home billboards. What is one channel that you will always include in your marketing mix? No matter what your budgets are, small, big, what's the one thing you think makes the biggest impact?
Yeah, for a clothing retailer, we have a very robust email program. We know email is one of the main traffic drivers. And so we always try to keep our emails fresh. We try to lead with like the biggest banger deals, we call them. We say banger a lot around here. Like, that's a banger of a deal. I know.
Now when you think about it, it's like,
yeah, it's a banger idea. So when we have those, email is probably our most leveraged channel. It's something that we have a lot of control over. It's something we have a lot of data on, so we can continually optimize our emails. But I think, like, again, we have to have that and this social presence, because wanting to get into being a parenting authority, the best way to talk to parents is not just talk to them about clothes, but talk to them about blowouts and like how much that sucks. Talk about, sleep deprivation, all these things that, will make us more relevant, because for a long time, I think Carter's really tried to be relevant based on price and product. And that's just not going to cut it in this new world. Everyone has price and everyone has product, and a lot of times they have less price or lower prices than we do. So I think those two channels, email and social, are really where we're going to lean in over the next couple of years.
All right, I think we have one more, and then if there's any questions from the audience, but kind of what's on the horizon? What's next that you're excited about this year? Are there any kind of things, tricks you have up your sleeve similar to Super Bowl, or is there anything in particular you're excited about, just seasonality, what you guys are working on behind the scenes?
Our key moments are, back to school is huge for us, so we're working on some exciting things there. We're wrapping a 12 or 18 month program with Hillary Duff. She was our CMO last year, so we're thinking about how we are going to comp that amazing partnership. But I think most importantly is what we're going to do in the social space. So TikTok is still, at least today, a really big channel for us. It's still very much present, and how we're showing up on that channel in a really irreverent way, and just talking to parents in a real matter of fact, plain English kind of way, and really going through what they're going through on their journey together with them, and how we can kind of be more than just a brand, but somebody that they're actually seeking out on the social space. So that will really continue to be a huge priority for us.
Yeah, I love that. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap things up today?
That guy down there.
Small budget, big share, voice, getting scrappy, right? So notice on your TikTok, you have videos that are done in your office with actual employees, right? So is that a
Her a
result
lot of
of
times too.
getting scrappy? And if so, what were kind of some of the thoughts that went into that? I know that a lot of us with large brands always sometimes think that we need to do professional and just always pay people to do that. So could you walk us through kind of the thought process, or weighing any of the risks of that, or the more getting scrappy mentality?
Yeah, sure. I think I would love to say that there was a really thoughtful strategy behind putting employees on TikTok, but truth of the matter is that was a test channel for us, so I really didn't have a budget. So we are lucky enough, fortunate enough to have a studio space on the west side here for Carter's in Oshkosh, and really it came down to the talent in the office, and we hired for those positions specifically, and I specifically looked for people that had the creator lens. So not necessarily coming from other big brands as social managers, but how are they creating content for themselves? What's their approach to creating content? Can they do it on their own? Because although we have a creative department, they're really, really focused on our big brand channels. So I think that, in the beginning, we were really nervous about litigious celebrities, and we still very much are. We would never use like a library that isn't commercial or isn't available to us in the channel. But I would say at the beginning of this year, we started to create more broad boundaries in allowing those the team members to use trending sounds, to use UGC, just asking for rights and having those terms and conditions developed. Again, our legal team, I cannot stress enough how important it is to have a working and really good relationship with them. I mean, of course, we all know that, but just understanding and educating for the social space, bringing other brand examples to mitigate risk or the assumption of risk, and giving the creators the space to do what they do. And the brand in the clothing in our instance are really like the supporting characters. That's kind of the process that we've taken. Yeah.
I think anyone else? No? Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing those insights. I love it. I was surprised, and it shows how, with enough creativity and intelligence, you can do quite amazing things with very little. And you've done that. I'm curious about, for example, how do you plan to, if you've given some thought about, we'll see you in 9 months. Are you going to make a reference to that, come, December or November, December?
That's a good idea.
Have you here for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You know, we've always thought like, why could we have our own baby parade like 9 months later in the city? You know, like, would we go down that path? So maybe more to come on that.
Cool. Great.
And on that note, thank you both so much
Yeah,
for today.
thank you
So much
guys.
fun.